Okay, Simbu versus Rajini, or we can say how Kollywood's many twists and turns can make A become Z and Z become A and everything muddled up in the middle. In Tamil, they call it idiopathical. So what happened was that there was well, it's a kind of sad thing. What fate and irony had in store because. Rajini rejected somebody who's a hardcore fan, Desing Periyasamy, the director, and instead opted for a Kamal fan, a self-declared Kamal fan, Lokesh, who was a bank officer, who's very much out and out commercial, profit calculating type of a person. You know, we all saw how he just threw in an item song inside the movie Coolie without much of a story interplay as we saw in Jailer. So Rajini was chasing the hits, the trend, and so on. And I think he made the mistake of not looking at the underlying fundamentals that are all, and surprising after all these many years, right? The underlying fundamentals of a good story and screenplay that must prop up everything else. Number one. And number two, the fact that however big the director is, the hero's motivation and involvement in discussion still plays a major role. In films like Padayappa, Rajini was very much involved in the development of the story. So basically, they cannot rest on their laurels, right? We saw even how Kamal and Money combination Thug Life could fail, especially if your assistant directors are all Nepo kids. Now, so what happened was when Desing Periyasamy told Danu is one of the very authentic producer because he really knows the industry. He himself is a very skillful he can make music. He's a music director as well. He if you've seen his interviews, he can sing, he can write lyrics very well. He's just actually he should be doing much more rather than just producing, but some unhappy even in the past made Danu stick to producing. He's one of the masters of marketing, and if we want to say some of the overseas producers who came into Kollywood without any knowledge of the industry and threw a lot of money and went away in failure, if we consider them at one end of the spectrum, people like Danu are at the other end, people you can really rely on and you should choose as a producer. Even RKFI is a good production company actually by right. So anyway, Danu brought Desing Periyasamy to Rajini, and then everything looked good. But only major problem Rajini's concern was the fact that it's one of those kingdom king kind of stories, and it'll require a lot of burden. I mean, not say burden, a lot of hard work from him. And also the fact that his previous attempt at that kind of a story didn't bring him good luck. Rana sort of was squandered, and Kochadayan sort of failed. But however, now that a few years have passed with all this new AI and technology and all that, I think Rajini could have still see, even if it's a challenging story and all, if the director is your hardcore fan, you can rest assured that he will go all out to ensure that he brings out the best within the limitation, right? But anyway, we were not in the room, so it could have been very physically demanding kind of a script. And Rajini had very bad experience in 2.0 with Shankar, whereby even when he was ill, he has to carry a very heavy costume of robot to perform. So maybe those memories were still fresh in Rajini's mind. So after sort of, not to say rejected, but put on the cold storage by Rajini, Desing waited for a long time without doing anything. Feel sorry for the guy until sort of Simbu picked him up, and Simbu supposedly wanted to do how to say that historical film with Desing, and say Simbu's market value and the budget were problematic. So Simbu was thinking that he will do the Kamal Maniratnam Thug Life, and with the bigger market after that he can work with Desing. But unfortunately that film did very poorly, and again Desing was left on the sidelines for years. So it's my personal feeling that even a small project, Rajini does so much charity for many people. He's such a benevolent person, and everybody knows that. So it's just my feeling that when you are nice to all the world, why not also be nice to people who love you so much, and so forth. So you could have given like a small project, maybe not the historical one, but maybe could have asked Desing to come up with a smaller story, perhaps some kind of older love rom-com, something like this. This is my personal opinion. But anyway, Simbu was dragging Desing along for a ride, and suddenly Simbu announced a bunch of films, I think about 3 to 4 films, of which one was the Ram Kumar Balakrishna, I believe his name, the parking movie director. Was one such project with a college background, and they released some posters and almost started shooting, but the producer Dawn Pictures got into some trouble with income tax. If I'm not mistaken, the Dawn Pictures had some link to question mark rumor link to Red Giant, DMK, and so on. But that's just a question mark. So that project fell through. So what happened was Simbu took Rajini's director and script. Rajini now, intentionally or not, ends up taking Simbu's director and script, whereby this Ram Kumar, the parking director, is a story that he made for Simbu, which was supposedly about some college-related professor kind of story, rumors. And now he's going with that, so he might end up with a reverse situation if ultimately Simbu follows through with the historical racing project. So the roles are switched. Simbu took Rajini's and Rajini took Simbu's. Okay, my only personal concern is that I hope they are not copying too much of that Basha template, because if you look carefully, Jailer already sort of copied the Basha template about the man with the background, right? Because he looks like a retired jailer. Yogi Babu makes fun of him, and turns out he's this superhero, legendary jailer from the past with the flashback scene and everything. Even Kohli copied that to a certain extent, the Basha template. This guy is like, walking around like some Joe, and then suddenly, apparently, he has a backstory where he's some legendary union leader. So this template is getting overused, and if this college story professor with a past thing comes up again, hopefully it doesn't go too much like number where I believe the Kamal, where he comes as a professor, was an ex-student, or goes back to the Basha mold where this professor was an underground gangster or whatever, something like that. Yeah, we would enjoy it. I don't think the movie will do poorly, but I mean, come on, art is about creativity. There are a lot of new avenues to explore, and so I hope they can come up with something new and exciting for the people, really. So that is that. Between Nithilan Swaminathan and this Ram Kumar, Parking Ram Kumar, I was still leaning a bit more towards Nithilan because his scripts are very, very, how to say, it's a strong point. So I hope Rajini can also, I'm getting very greedy. I want Rajini to do so many things. He's already 70 plus, but we all want him. We all love him. So I think I think Rajini is willing and able. It's just that the team has to be good. If the team plans very well and don't do like now, now they're taking almost 1.5, 2 years to make a film. Whereas in 80s they had a proper script and hard work, and within 3 months everything is complete. So rather than giving all the grand excuses, they should work hard to see how it can be done with all the technology, in fact, that they have in the hand currently, to make a film fast. So this is not actually Rajini versus Simbu as antagonists. It's just that it's a kind of a opposite film projects kind of happening, and let's see what comes of it. I'm sure you guys remember how Indian by Shankar was supposed to be done by Rajini in the beginning, and Robo or Indiran by Shankar as well was supposed to be done by Kamal in the beginning. Even there were some photos floating around in the internet of Kamal with that makeup dress and all, with Preeti Zinta. But ended up that Rajini took Kamal's project and Kamal took Rajini's project. There is some tweaking and it came out quite well. So hopefully they can tweak the Simbu's college professor story to sort of work for Rajini, and hopefully the film becomes a hit and Rajini continues giving chance to new director. I would really be interested to see Nithilan and Rajini work together. Only kind of disappointment for the more older fans is that it's a kind of a cultural shock. How could people like Shankar and Maniratnam drop the ball so badly, right? We would have loved to see a kind of a new version of Thalapathy. I mean, that kind of a quality making. I mean, I'm not saying the story, but that kind of quality with a different story by Mani and Rajini. Again, a different creative story, Shankar and Rajini. But unfortunately, I think besides the age factor, age memory, all these kind of things, the assistant directors also nowadays many are like nepo kids and all that, so they might not know to bring out good stories. So anyway, what do you guys think about this switch between Simbu and Rajini projects? Share in the comment. Bye bye.